What's going on? Just HoopTalk Network here with Justin Henry, Will Thompson, and
Sir.
today we are going over the Phoenix Suns and Los Angeles Lakers first round matchup.
Yep.
Before we get into it, make sure you like, subscribe, share the channel. As always, we are trying to reach 1,000 subscribers before the end of the playoffs. So help us out. Hit the notification button if you may as well. You know I'm excited about this
Yeah,
one,
man.
Will. My
Yep.
LA Lakers taking on
Yep.
the Suns, beat up on the Warriors, barely, but we got in here. So number 2, Phoenix Suns are coming in, playing a really, really good season this year. Obviously, the Chris Paul addition has made this team an elite team in the league now. And we're seeing the elevated levels of plays from a lot of the players on this team. Talk a little bit about this matchup because we got the Phoenix Suns who are really kind of coasting and playing really well throughout the whole season. We've had the Lakers have a bumpy ship. They started off really hot, had a few injuries, and kind of limped into this playoff series.
Yeah, this is a tough spot for the Lakers, man, because this is, something that we would have projected earlier on in the season. We would have projected this to be maybe the conference finals matchup or something like that, the way the Suns are playing. But now it's a 2-7. The Lakers got to battle one of probably the best teams in the West, man. If you look at the Jazz and the way they've been playing, Donovan Mitchell coming back, this is a tougher matchup for them than the Jazz would have been at number 1.
Yeah.
So them winning that game against the Warriors, obviously you want to win, get yourself in the playoffs, get yourself some rest, but they're putting themselves in a little bit of a tough spot now to face the Suns that are led by a all-time great point guard in my book, man. A true leader, a true point guard in the sense of point guard. Like, that really gets lost in today's game when we call someone a point guard. It's kind of a loose term, you know what I mean? But now, this dude is legit a point guard, a team leader, a quarterback on the floor. He's changed the fortunes of this franchise for sure. The Suns have always kind of been that kind of team that just can't really get over the hump. He seems to have changed the culture, and I'm excited for this first round matchup, man.
It brings back the circa, I want to say the year was 2007. We had the Lakers and the Suns, and it was a high seed versus low seed. I want to say it was 2-7 too. Kobe hitting the game winner, going up 3-1, and then they lost. So obviously the Lakers were the favorites in that one, or the Suns were the favorites in that one. The Lakers had the better player, ended up losing. And I don't know if that's how it's going to play out this time, but I'm really curious to see how this series is going to play out. I love what the Suns have built. They've added the right veteran pieces to the younger pieces there. When you have, your Cam Johnsons, your Cam Paynes, your DeAndre Aytons there, your Devin Bookers, and now you're adding a Jay Crowder, a Chris Paul. You're starting to see the accumulation of a few years of this. We saw how the Suns played in the bubble last year, fighting until the very end, going 8-0 and almost making the playing game. I think we're going to see some hunger out of them, but also some jitters too. Yes. And the one thing we're going to see out of this Lakers team is a lot of patience, a lot of no panicking. That's what this Laker team does with these vets. They've already been through the grind, and it's going to be a really interesting series to see. Of course, me as somebody who has a slightly vested interest in the Lakers season, I want to go fair with this. This is going to be an unbiased opinion on how I think this series is going to play out. But let's talk a little bit about the strengths of these teams, because when you look at the Lakers, I think they have the front court to match up with DeAndre Ayton. Some of those other pieces that are on the Suns. When you bring in Andre Drummond, this is the series for to throw a body at Ayton so that Anthony Davis does not have to play center. We know Anthony Davis does not like to play center, and so this is what that's for. Drummond is here to play against DeAndre Ayton, play big minutes, and hopefully we can see that. So I like the front court depth that the Lakers will be able to throw at the Phoenix Suns. And I think that the size overall, because you got Chris Paul on the other side, Devin Booker, there's a little bit of size, but the Lakers can throw their will a little bit more with their overall body types that they have. So I like the Lakers being able to kind of push the narrative and control the series with their bodies and their defense this series. And the Suns, I think we got to see them get up and go, especially with this team being injured the way that they are. Anthony Davis has looked a little bit lackluster in the series. It's not his normal efficient self. And LeBron obviously is hampered by an injury. We're going to find out how much he can play through this series.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head, man. The Lakers, if they're going to win this series, have to be great defensively. because it doesn't seem like they're all the way back offensively. LeBron's starting to kind of get in his flow, but I feel like Anthony Davis isn't fully there yet. So they got to be dominant defensively. If they're going to try to outscore the Suns, they're going to be in trouble. And I think they have the players to do it, man. They proved that against the Warriors as well. They got guys like Caruso who are super, super effective defensively. Maybe not great offensively, but really effective. Wesley Matthews. So I think they really have to take over defensively in this series in order for them to win. As far as the Suns are concerned, I think you're right. They got to get up and down. They got to push the pace. When I look at the matchups and where the Suns have an advantage, I think Chris Paul is probably going to be the difference maker. I don't think the Lakers match up with him well at all. He's going to be a problem, man. He really is. He's going to be someone who's going to be able to get into the lane, who's going to be able to create, drop things off for Ayton, kick out for Devin Booker. Yep. So the Lakers are going to really have to tie him down and keep him from getting in the lane and creating and making life hell for them.
Well, let me ask you this. We saw Caruso kind of come – I mean, he's been playing really well all season, but we saw him really emerge in that playing game with his defense on Steph Curry. Yeah. Do you think we're going to see him a little bit earlier in the game, playing up against Chris Paul, trying to slow him down? Because he played a really effective role in distracting and kind of messing up the timing with Steph Curry there.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting, kind of the Lakers' rotation with Caruso and Schroeder. And I know Caruso struggles a little bit offensively, but his defense was great. And they felt like they kept putting Schroeder back in, like they wanted Schroeder to kind of be that offensive guy that kind of balances.
That's what they acquired him for.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know, man. I think we'll see a lot of Schroeder. I mean, a lot of Caruso. I don't think that's a good matchup for Schroeder with Chris Paul, even though they were teammates last year and all that.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a lot of Caruso this series for sure.
Yeah, and I kind of look at Schroeder, and I'm looking at some of these other pieces. I think the Lakers just being injured late in the season, that kind of messed up their flow. They were playing good basketball early in the season, and I think that's a weakness right now, is because when you have players who are playing different roles, like you saw Taylor Horton-Tucker really go and get a lot of minutes while everybody was out, and now he's back down to like 5-10 minutes a game. Yeah. We saw Kyle Kuzma really take on that ownership of, hey, I need to be that second leading scorer on the team right now. Drummond, when he first came, was like, hey, I got to be a scorer. And now LeBron and AD are back, and it's like, whoa, we got to play our roles. These guys really haven't played a lot together, and so I think that's actually a really big weakness. This Suns team has been together all year. Yeah. They're adding the little pieces that they need, but their core guys have played a majority of the games. And that's where I think there's going to be a little bit of an advantage for the Phoenix Suns this series. The Lakers are going to have to find a way to gel a little bit, because we saw they got off to a really slow start against the Warriors. And if they do that against this Phoenix Suns team, I'm not sure how it'll work. And I also look to that, though, the experience and just going through a finals run. The Lakers do have an advantage there, whereas the Suns are going to be they aren't as battle tested yet. Yeah, you got Chris Paul. Yeah, you got Jay Crowder. But a lot of those other guys, this is their first time ever playing playoff basketball. And we know how it works. LeBron in the first round does not lose. That's just the nature of who he is. I don't think he's ever lost in the first round. So we're going to see this Phoenix Suns team and kind of adjust. I think that's going to be one of their weak points, is do they have the ability to overcome the inexperience and play at a high level like they did the whole regular season?
Yeah, that's going to be key, man. Just the inexperience and the mindset and the mentality. We saw this last year with Chris Paul with the Thunder, right?
Yeah.
Like Chris Paul had to kind of teach these guys on the fly and kind of drag.
He was like, I'm bringing you guys with me.
He was carrying them with him, and now he has to kind of do the same thing again. So that's tough to ask of a guy, especially a guy who's 35 something.
30, he's 35, 36.
Yeah, so that's a lot to ask of a guy, man. But seems like Devin Booker's a mentally kind of tough guy. He seems to be like super focused, locked in. I don't know a lot about DeAndre Ayton. They have Jay Crowder. They have some guys who they don't have any. They have a lot of role players, and so in that type of situation, you're not expecting a lot from those guys. You're just expecting them to come out and do their job. Cam Johnson
and it works.
Yeah,
it works with these guys.
Come out. Cam Johnson is a good example, right? Come out, stretch the defense, and shoot. Mikal Bridges, come out and just defend your ass off. So
yes,
in those type of situations, it's good because the important players have the experience on this team. So that could kind of balance things out. But yeah, man, LeBron just does not lose in these type of situations. So it's hard.
He doesn't. And it's tough to go against him, man. When we start talking about how this series is going to play out, this is a really tough one because I think if you said the Suns are going to win in 4 games, you could be right. You said the Suns are going to win in 7 games, you could be right. You say the Lakers are going to win in 4 games, you're right. Lakers win in 7, you could be like, there's no wrong answer to this series because we don't know how these teams are going to come out. And there's a little bit of competitive side. Like, that Chris Paul's a competitor. You know that LeBron's a competitor. Looking into how this series is going to play out, I'm actually going to go first on this one.
Yeah.
I like the Phoenix Suns in this series, man. Unfortunately, I don't like saying that. I like the Phoenix Suns in this series. I think they win probably 6 games. I think the one thing that the Suns have that a lot of teams do not have is the ability to guard LeBron and AD. When you're talking about Jay Crowder, you're talking about Mikal Bridges, you have players who can go and enforce their physicality on them.
Yeah.
Bridges is one of the elite defenders in the league. We don't talk enough about him. And Jay Crowder is obviously an elite defender as well. Yeah. We kind of saw Draymond was getting into AD's head too. And I think Jay Crowder does a lot of the same things. We saw that in the finals last year. Jay Crowder was he was just a dog. He was annoying everybody. So when I look at this matchup, I know Ayton is good defensively. Like Chris Paul is obviously good defensively. When I look at this matchup, it scares me for the Lakers. I feel like if they were healthy, fully healthy, I'd probably 7-game series. I'd probably flip the coin and pick a winner. But right now, as is, I think the Suns are locked and loaded this season. Devin Booker is going to hit a clutch shot or 2 this series, and this is unfortunately I don't see it going the Lakers' way.
Yeah. So what do you got? The series
Suns in 6.
Suns in 6. Wow. So I'm going with the Lakers in 7. I have a lot of the same concerns that you do. I think it's really it just comes down to health, man. And I think the biggest difference maker is we know LeBron's going to come out and do his thing.
Right.
We know he's going to hit big shots. We know he always does. I think it really comes down to Anthony Davis and what version of Anthony Davis do the Lakers get? Do they get a 30 and 12, 13 guy, or do they get a 24 and 8 guy who's hobbled half the time, got to come out of the game, got to ice something, stretch something, come back in the locker room. We've seen that a lot with Anthony Davis, man.
Dude, he hasn't looked the same. He hasn't looked the same since he came back, and I think he's overcompensating right now. When you have an Achilles injury, and the doctors are probably telling him, like, hey, you need this thing to fully recover. You're going to be out for an extended period of time. It affects your mental. It affects your level of play on the court when you're nursing an injury or you're kind of worried about it.
Right.
We actually see that a lot with LeBron right now on his ankle, too.
Yeah.
Like, he looks like he's taking care of it to prevent himself from getting hurt, which you can't play against a team like the Suns like that and expect to win. So that's the part that concerns me. And Andre Drummond really isn't giving them that third piece I think they thought he would be.
Right.
I would like to see this team go small. Let AD play the 5. Let Kuzma get in there some more minutes. I think that we saw that in the fourth quarter of the game with the Warriors, and they looked way more natural. The Lakers looked way more natural with Anthony Davis at the 5, Kuzma at the 4. The scoring options are there. It takes a little bit more pressure off of LeBron and AD as well. So they need a third scorer, man. We'll see how this series goes. Do you think there's any chance? You said Lakers in 7. Is that you assuming they're all healthy, or do you think as is right now, just no matter just with the information we have, you think for sure they're going to win in 7?
I think, if they're healthy, they win in 7. To me, they're healthy enough right now, but anything can happen, man. And if even the margin of error is going to be so thin in this series, man, I think it's going to be a really close series. A lot of really close games. So they can't afford for anyone to go out for any extended period of time because I think it's that close,
Man, let us know your guys' thoughts in the comments. You got the Suns or the Lakers? And let us know in how many games as well. We'll debate you guys in the comments. Be sure to like and subscribe. Check out our other playoff previews. We have the first round all covered, East and Western Conference. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Just HoopTalk, another edition in the books. We are out.
Peace.